श्री चैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरि प्रिये। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you all for joining this evening's Bhagavad Gita session. Today I was asked to speak about chapter 7 verse 20. Okay, so please repeat after me. Let's recite the verse. Please repeat after me. कामैस्तैस्तैर्हितज्ञानाः
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 कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानः
प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः
प्रबध्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः
प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः
प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः
प्रबध्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः
प्रपद्यन्तेऽन्यदेवताः
तं तं नियमम् आस्ताय
तं
तं
नियमम्
तं नियमम्
आस्ताय
आस्थाय
तं तं नियमम् आस्ताय
तं नियमम् आस्ताय
आस्थाय
प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया
प्रकृत्या
प्रकृत्या
नियतः स्वया
नियतः स्वया
प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया.
प्रकृत्या
प्रकृत्या
नियतः स्वया.
नियतः स्वया.
Okay, anyone wants to volunteer to recite the verse?
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानः
प्रपद्यन्ते न्यादेवताः
प्रबध्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः
तं तं नियमम् आस्थाय
तं नियमम् आस्ताय
प्राकृत्या नियतः स्वया
प्राकृत्या नियतः स्वया.
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हितज्ञानः
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानः
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानः
प्रपद्यन्ते अन्यदेवताः
प्रबध्यन्ते
प्रपद्यन्ते
अन्यदेवताः
अन्यदेवताः
तं तं नियममास्थाय
तं
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 नियमम्
नियमम्
आस्ताय
आस्थाय
प्रकृत्या नियता स्वया.
प्रकृत्या
प्रकृत्या
नियतः स्वया.
नियतः स्वया.
Any Prabhus? Jai Prakash Prabhu, please.
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हस्तस्वाज्ञानः
कामैस्तैस्तैर्हृतज्ञानाः
प्रपद्यते नया देवता
प्रबध्यन्ते
प्रपद्यन्ते
अन्यदेवताः
न्यादेवताः
तं नियमम् अस्ते
तं
तं तं
नियममास्थाय
नियममस्थाय
प्रकृत्या नित्या स्वया
प्रकृत्या नियतः स्वया.
Thank you all for participating in the recitation of this verse. Let's go synonyms. Kamehi. Please repeat after me.
कामेहि
By
Kamehi.
desires.
By desires.
by desires.
Teihi tehi.
Tehi
Tehi tehi.
Various.
Various.
Hrita.
Hrita.
Rita.
Deprived of.
Deprived of.
Deprived of.
Gnanaha.
Jnanaha.
Jnanaha.
Knowledge.
knowledge,
knowledge,
prapadyante,
prapadyante,
surrender,
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 anya,
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 to other,
to other,
devataha,
devadaha,
devataha,
demigods,
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 tam tam,
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 corresponding,
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 niyamam,
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 regulations,
regulations,
astaya,
asthaya,
asthaya,
following,
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 prakritya,
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 by nature,
by nature,
by nature,
niyataha,
niyadaha,
niyataha,
controlled,
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 swaya,
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 by their own.
by their own.
by their own.
So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. Purport: those who are freed from all material contaminations surrender unto the Supreme Lord and engage in His devotional service. As long as the material contamination is not completely washed off, they are by nature non-devotees. But even those who have material desires and who resort to the Supreme Lord are not so much attracted by external nature. Because of approaching the right goal, they soon become free from all material lust. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is recommended that whether one is a pure devotee or is free from all material desires or is full of material desires or desires liberation from material contamination, he should in all cases surrender to Vasudeva and worship him. As stated in Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10, Akama sarvakamo va moksha kama udaradhihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Less intelligent people who have lost their spiritual sense take shelter of demigods for immediate fulfillment of material desires. Generally, such people do not go to the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are in the lower modes of nature, ignorance and passion, and therefore worship various demigods. Following the rules and regulations of worship, they are satisfied. The worshippers of demigods are motivated by small desires and do not know how to reach the supreme goal, but a devotee of the Supreme Lord is not misguided. Because in Vedic literature, there are recommendations for worshipping different gods for different purposes. Example, a deceased man is recommended to worship the sun. Those who are not devotees of the Lord think that for certain purposes, demigods are better than the Supreme Lord. But a pure devotee knows that the Supreme Lord Krishna is the master of all. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela, chapter 5, text 142, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arashobha Bhrithya. Only the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the master and all others are servants. Therefore, a pure devotee never goes to demigods for satisfaction of his material needs. He depends on the Supreme Lord, and the pure devotee is satisfied with whatever he gives. Jai. Hare Krishna devotees. So I'll stop sharing the screen because I don't have slides. So Lord Krishna, in a series of blockbuster verses, like in this chapter, he has explained many things. The current topic we are talking about is an explanation about the living entities approaching the Lord and the living entities approaching the demigods. Okay, this series specifically started from the verse 15, where Krishna said that there are 4 types of people who doesn't approach me. Right? What are those 4 types of people? Namam dushkritano moodaha prapadyante naradamaha Maya prahita gnana ashuram bhavamashritaha. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and whose partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender unto me. So Krishna is saying that there are 4 types of people. Mudaha, animalistic fools, who work hard solely for the material sense pleasure, who is available for which is available for animals also. Right now, these kind of people who are animalistic fools, that's what Krishna is saying, mudaha. And the second type of is naradhama. Naradhama is lowest of mankind, humans who lose their chance to revive their lost relationship with the Lord. They give up bhakti even after practicing it, right? They take birth after birth, and they are not, that's why Lord is saying that naradhama, they lost their chance. And maya aparhita gnana, deluded spectators, they just watch, okay, because their knowledge has been, and their gnana, or the knowledge has been illusioned by Maya Devi, illusory energy, right? So those people, they cannot approach the Lord. And the fourth type is ashram bhavamashitaha, demonic atheists who are envious of the Lord, like Hiranyakashipu. He's envious of Vishnu. He was always talking and blaspheming Vishnu. So that those people, those who are envious of Vishnu, Hiranyakashipu is a big example, but in current world also there are people who are envious of the Lord. They think, why God only wants to have this kind of devotees. I also want to have a devotees. I want to followers. So that kind of mentality, those are demonic atheists or ashram bhavam ashritaha. So those are the four types of people, or dushkritina. Dushkritina is the word which is used. Dushkritana mudaha. So dushkritana is the people who are impious. These four types of people who are impious, they cannot approach the Lord. Okay, and the next following verse, right after that, Lord explains in text 16 that Chaturvidah bhajanti mam jana sukritano. He's quoting here. In the previous verse, he mentioned about duskritana, and this word he's talking about sukritana. Sukritana is a pious people. Duskritana is impious people. The pious people are the people, Lord explains in this verse, there are four types of pious people. They are Chaturvida, there are four types. Jana Sukritana Arjuna, Artho Jignasur Artharthi Gnani. Four people, okay? Artho Jignasur Artharthi Gnani. So these are the four types of people. What is Artha? Artha means the one who is distressed, who has seen the miseries of this world, of this material nature. He has understood that this material nature cannot be enjoyable completely or fully all the time. So that person gets into misery, and that misery is a distress. That distressed person who has experienced the pangs of this material nature, he will go and approach the Lord. So that is one first type Lord is explaining. Okay, example, Gajendra. Gajendra was having a very good time with his family of elephants. He was enjoying in the water. He was having good time. He was spraying the water with his trunk to his babies, baby elephants, to his wife. He was making sure that everyone is taking shower and everyone is having fun. He thought that no one on this earth can ever attack him. Very careless feature he was in, but suddenly the distress showed up. That is the nature of material. That is the material nature, right? So the distress showed up in the form of a crocodile, and he lost everything. He lost his family. He was almost about to lose his life. That is the situation he was in. That is Artha. So that kind of situation, Gajendra prayed to Lord Vishnu. That's when he remembered Lord Vishnu. Okay, with the Sukritana of his from his previous births, Sukriti. So the second type of the person who reaches or approaches or takes shelter of the Lord is Jignasu, the inquisitive. Inquisitive is the people like Kumaras, right? Shaunakadi Rishis. So they are inquisitive. They all got together in the Naimisharanya forest, and they started asking questions. They're inquisitive to know about the Lord. Okay, they're just inquisitive, like how this world is functioning, how everything, what is the cosmic manifestation, how all the things are working, and all these things. Okay, and the Artharthi is the seeker of wealth, and a very good example and the exemplary example is Dhruva Maharaj. He wanted to have wealth greater than his grandfather or great grandfather, that is Lord Brahma. He wanted to have a bigger planet or bigger wealth or huge or more wealth than his grandfather, and Lord has approved it. He has made such a beautiful planet, Dhruva Nakshatra, North Pole. which will stay even after Brahma's day or night ends. So he was that pole still stays there. The planet still stays there. That is Dhruva Nakshatra, and Lord has bestowed that to him with the bhakti. Okay, and the fourth type of a devotee is Gnani. Gnani is a seeker of knowledge. And what is a seeker of knowledge? He's seeking the knowledge of what knowledge he's seeking for. He's seeking the knowledge of Lord Krishna. The example provided is our Sukadev Goswami. Sukadev Goswami, when he was born, he just ran away from the family. He was running away from the family or material nature. He was sure that this material nature has no place for him, because he knew that material nature cannot fulfill or cannot be a permanent place to stay and have fun and have a family and all those things. So he was running, but eventually from a hunter, he heard the verse about the magnanimity of the Lord, the one who came to give the poison to the child, for a demon who came to kill Krishna, to give the poison and kill him. To the demon, Lord gave his place. It's like, someone, it's like giving a, someone is trying to harm you, but he's more magnanimous than that person, and he says that don't worry, that's okay, come back and stay in my place. You stay in my place. That is the magnanimity of the Lord. So so with that one verse, he got attracted, and he started jignasa, or he started gnani, he started learning, or he started knowing about the Lord. He went back to his father to know more about this personality. So that is a gnani, or seekers of the knowledge about the Lord. Okay, so those are the four types of people who can go to the Lord. Okay, so these are the verses. These are back-to-back blockbusters. Okay, so these are beautiful verses in the 7th chapter. And now comes 17th and 18th verse, where Lord talks about, I'm cutting short. So basically 17th and 18th verse, where Lord glorifies about Gnana Bhakti. He says that Gnani is a person, there is no difference between Gnani and myself. I love, he says that I am very much happy with the Gnani type of a devotee, because after seeking the knowledge, what happened to Sukadeva Goswami? He gave up everything. He knew that material world is all temporary, and he started seeking, and he started preaching about Krishna. He started aiming or seeking to go back to Krishna. So that is the knowledge seeking capability. So that's why Lord explains and glorifies a Gnani in 17th and 18th verses. And 19th verse, in the continuation of the glorification of a Gnani, he says one thing. He says that Bahunam Janmanam Ante Gnanavan Mam Prapadyate Vasudeva Sarvamiti Samhatma Sudurlabhaha. He says that after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrender unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. He says that it takes millions of births and deaths. The one who is with the knowledge, he surrenders to me. He surrenders unto me, knowing me to the cause of all causes. Such a great soul is very rare. Very, very rare. Okay. So till now, in this section, Lord has spoken about how to reach to the Lord, or what is the position, or who reaches to the Lord, or who takes the shelter of the Lord, and who doesn't take the shelter of the Lord. And he explains different types of bhaktas, and he explains about Gnani Bhakta. Now, from this verse to the next, including this verse, next three verses, like 20, 21, 22, 23, he talks about the future of a person or a living entity who takes shelter of demigod. Okay, till now he explained about what is a position, or what happens to the people who surrenders unto him, or who takes the shelter of the Lord himself. And from this 20, 21, 22, 23, he talks about what is a position, or what happens, or what is the condition of a living entity when he takes the shelter of demigod. Okay, so that is the today's verse. Today's verse is 20th verse. Kamais te sther hita gnanaha prapadyantenya devataha anya devataha. Anya means he's not saying So he is not saying that come to me. He's saying that anya, other devatas. So if you prapadyante, if you worship other devatas, tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyata swaya. So kamais testir hitagnanaha, those whose intelligence is stolen by material desires. Desires can steal the intelligence. Okay, just when the desires are so much occupied your mind, then the intelligence will not work there. So that's where Krishna is saying here, kamais testir hitagnanaha. So when whoever's intelligence is stolen by the desires, I want this, that, everything. So there is no limit for the desires. When those desires are stolen by the intelligence, prapadyante anya devata, then they go and worship the other devatas. Why they go and worship the other devatas? Because Prabhupada explains in the purport, he explains that the other devatas reaching out and getting the material desires fulfilled from other devatas is very easy and it's quicker. And at that point, they think that why should we go to the Lord? Why should we go to the Supreme Lord? I mean, he doesn't give. Sometimes he gives, sometimes he doesn't give. So when the intelligence is stolen by the material desires, which are very temporary, which Lord doesn't support or which Lord is not happy to give, but he'll give sometimes, okay, depending upon the desires and depending upon the requirements, okay. So then the living entities, they think that why should we go and approach the Supreme Lord for our material desires? Because we have demigods, and the process is written in Vedas, scriptures. Srila Prabhupada mentions that the process, which is the tam niyamam asthaya. So they follow accordingly the asthaya, the rules and regulations that has to be followed to please or satisfy the demigods. Okay, they follow according to the rules. For example, Prabhupada explains, if you are deceased, then you pray to the Surya Dev. Surya Dev can clear off all the diseases. So that is an example. So if you want a beautiful wife, pray to Parvati Devi. So if you want wealth, pray to Lakshmi Ji, or pray to like now different things. If you want to have, like, there are different categories and different varieties that has been explained, and what you have to do and what you don't have to do. So if you want power, they say you have to worship Durga Devi. So there are many solutions which were given to fulfill your material desires. Okay, prakritya niyata swaya. So surrender unto the demigods, adopting various rules under the control of their own low natures and desires, according to their low nature and desire. Because they're low. Why they are low? When you have material desire, that means you are mostly in the mode of ignorance and passion. So so that's why you'll have material desires. So examples, if we talk about examples, we have Ravan, right? Ravan is a very intelligent or very scholarly person. Otherwise he's a very scholarly person. He has a Veda part. He has completed all the Vedas. He knows in and out of lot of scriptures, but still he had a material desire. Then what he did, he approached Brahma. He wanted material desire. He wanted to be the ruler who cannot be killed by anyone else in this world, right? So he approached Brahma and he asked for the boons. So what was the boons he asked? Like, he didn't care for the human beings, but other than that, he got a boon in such a way that no other living entities or no other beings can kill him. So that was the boon he got from Brahma. In the same way, Vrikasura, if you know the story of Vrikasura is a demon. He was, some stories mention that he was desiring to have marriage with Parvati Devi, wife of Lord Shiva. So this person, this demon, he to get a wife of Lord Shiva, he was doing penances and cutting his meat, cutting his flesh from the body and offering it in the fire to please the Lord Shiva. So he was just giving and offering obeisances with his flesh. And Lord Shiva says, stop this nonsense. What are you doing? What do you want? Then Vikasura said, whomever I put my hand on the top of their head, they should become bhasma, like, they should turn into ashes. So that was the boon he got. And after getting the boon, what happened? She said, okay, thank you for giving the boon, but let me test it on you. So he was chasing Lord Shiva to test the boon which was provided by Lord Shiva himself. That is a quality. That's why it says that in this verse, it says that it is very, so it says that the people rules, it's okay. Yeah, I lost the track. So basically, it says that those people who are in this lower, like Naradhama, they're very low in the character, or low in the if you have material desires. Basically, they have, like, sometimes they go beyond what is supposed to be asked for, or what is code and rules, and they forget everything. So Lord, he pleased Lord Shiva to get a boon, and he's testing that boon on Lord Shiva himself, the one who granted him the boon. So that was the situation, and Lord Vishnu came as a Mohini, and he protected him, protected Lord Shiva otherwise. But that is the situation. So demigods will give the boons, but those are troublesome basically overall, right? In the similar situation, Hiranyakashipu is a very good example, where Hiranyakashipu was asking Lord Brahma for immortality, right? And Lord Brahma said, I'm not immortal. How can I give you the immortality? Then he said, okay, he went left and right asking the boons. I cannot be killed inside or outside of the house, not in the daytime, not in the nighttime. No weapon can kill me, no animals, and he asked everything. So basically he covered everything. That's why after killing Hiranyakashipu, Lord Nrsingadev wants Brahmaji, please mend your giving boon character. It's not good to give such drastic requirements. You cannot fulfill such drastic requirements. So that's what Nrsingadev tells Brahmaji. So yes, these demigods, they give boons, but those boons are troublesome at the, sometimes. So now the question is, if you're a devotee, are we completely free from material desires? Not everyone. Not everyone is completely devoid of material desires. But what should we do? Do we have to go to demigods for our boons, or not boons, at least to fulfill our desires? Not really. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10 explains that Akama Sarvakamo va Moksha Kama Udaradhihi Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param. Prabhupada quotes this in the purport. He says that Akama Sarvakamo va, a person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, full of Sakama, Sarvakama, he is full of material desires, without any material desire, Akama, okay, or a desire to the liberation. Please remember, no one else except Lord Vishnu and Vishnu Tattvas can give the liberation. So even if we have a desire to go back to the Vaikuntha Lokas, liberation, that also can be provided by Lord Vishnu himself. So that's why he's saying, this verse is beautifully saying that Akama Sarva Kama va Moksha Kama Udaradihi Dhivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. So a person who has broader intelligence, whether he be full of material desires, without any material desire, or desiring liberation, must by all means worship the Supreme Whole, the personality of Godhead. So whether he has a desires, whether he has no desires, or he has a desire to achieve the liberation or Vaikuntha Lokas, he can. It guarantees that Lord will ensure that your desires are fulfilled if they are appropriate for your life, or if they are very conducive for your life. So yes, devotees in the process of bhakti yoga, they are not completely devoid of material desires, but if they have material desires, they can approach Lord Vishnu or Lord Krishna, and they can get their desires fulfilled if they're appropriate, okay, and they're suitable for them for the future. Because Krishna sees in a panoramic view. We see only like two eye sighted view, but Krishna sees in a panoramic view. Like Krishna is in the top, he sees the whole earth, whole everything. as a human being or living entity, we can see only what is visible for our eyes. But Krishna sees for future and past and everything, and ensures that the desire what you are having is qualified enough or good enough for your future, and he approves that if it is required or if it is conducive for his bhakti. So that is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10. Kama sarva kama va moksha kama udaradihi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. So all these kind of people who have desires, not desires, desires of liberation, they all can follow the bhakti yoga. There is no limitation for them. Okay. And when it comes to the demigods, are they happy when they see living entities practicing bhakti yoga or bhakti towards the Lord Vishnu? Yes, for sure. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Text 24, Canto 4, Chapter 24, Text 28, Lord Shiva is explaining this to Prachetas. He says that Yah param ramhasa sakshat triguna jiva samgnitat Bhagavantam Vasudevam Prapanna Sa Priyohime, saying that those people who approach or who are going into the Bhakti Yoga, Bhagavan Vasudevam, who are taking shelter of Vasudeva, are very dear to me. He's saying that Lord Shiva says, any person who is surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the controller of everything, material nature as well as the living entity, is actually very dear to me. He says this to Prachetas. Prachetas are the sons of Prachina Barhi. There are 10 beautiful and effulgent sons of Prachina Barhi. They were going to perform the austerities in the towards the Lord Vishnu. So they were on the way, and they found a lake, a beautiful lake with beautiful flowers and birds around that lake. And suddenly they see that Lord Shiva and his and his followers, they all emerge out of that lake. And Lord Shiva comes there specifically. He says that I have come down to see you, to give darshan to you, because you are all very dear to me. Why are you all very dear to me? Because you are going to approach Vasudeva, Krishna. So you are trying to perform austerities for Lord Krishna. So that is the position, that is the happiness, that is the excitement these demigods show to the devotees who follow Bhakti Yoga. Okay, so they're not against it. Now, at the end, what I want to share is, so it has been, the today's class clearly explains that we are not supposed to approach demigods for our material desires. Does it mean that should we just neglect demigods? Should we just ignore them? Should we start blaspheming them? Is that a right perspective? No, not at all. Demigods are Lord Krishna's devotees. Please remember, if you say a single word against the demigods, that means we are completely in the Vaishnava Aparad mode. Vaishnava Aparad is the worst thing that can affect a devotee. Okay, a devotional service or a devotee or a bhakti yoga is like a current or an outlet in your house. When you use that outlet for the proper channeling, like, if you have that connected to a refrigerator that gives a cold, and it works like a refrigerator, you can use and store the food items in the refrigerator. If you connect a heater, that current will transform into a heat and provides a heating for the house. If you put your finger into that outlet, you will die because of you will get electrocuted. Why? Because that is the function of electricity. Okay, in the same way, Bhakti Yoga is very, very conducive for bhakti, for devotional service. If we perform bhakti without any offense, okay, without any offense, it can give you Lord Krishna himself directly. All demigods, everyone is there for you. They support you, they encourage you to move forward in this devotional life. But if we start blaspheming the devotees, if we start blaspheming the demigods, especially, Lord doesn't like it, because they're devotees. They're functioning under the control of the Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has given them power to rule this material world in a certain way. Who are we to blaspheme them? Who are we to say anything against them? So with this, my dear devotees, so I want to end this class here with this beautiful series of verses. Nice verses, nice explanation Lord is providing to Arjuna in the 7th chapter, right? Kamastaisthir hita gnanaha prapadyantenya devataha tam tam niyamam nyasthaya prakritya niyata svaya. So the conclusion is we can approach for any kind of desire, we can approach the Lord. Better not to have a desire, but we are in the process of bhakti. If we have a desire, approach the Lord directly instead of approaching a demigods. Does that mean that can we say wrong things about the demigods? No, we don't have any right to say anything wrong about demigods. We cannot approach them. We have to respect them. Demigods have their position and demigods have their respect. So we have to respect that and we have to completely surrender to the Lord. Hare Krishna. Please share your reflections if you have any.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandat Pranam all goes to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you for a wonderful class as always. Actually, I joined a little late, so I just had a question. I know in a previous class it was discussed like who all worship Lord Krishna, but I missed who all don't worship. So can you just like quickly, like name, like I know the death there don't, the demons don't, that much I heard, but I don't know what you said previous to that.
Yes, Mataji. So basically, Lord Krishna says in this is about verse 15. He says that Namam Dushkritano Mudaha. Dushkritana is impious people. And he quotes that impious people as in 4 categories. The first category is Mudaha and animalistic fools, right? So they don't have a differentiation. They just live. They work hard solely for the purpose of material fulfillment or material enjoyment. Okay, that is the first category. And the second category is Naradhamaha. Naradhama is the lowest of mankind. Okay, so who are the lowest of mankind? The persons who got an opportunity to practice Krishna consciousness. They know that there is Krishna, they know that there is some practice called as Krishna consciousness, and they know that this life is not pure, or this life is not permanent, but still they don't follow, or they don't go back to Krishna. So they're Naradhamas. Okay, so that is the second category of people. And the third category is Maya ya Prahita Gnana, Aprita Gnana, the one whose mind, one whose intelligence is stolen by the illusion. Okay, so they are illusion, they are in the basically they're deluded spectators. Despite having studied the scriptures, they have studied the scriptures, their knowledge is stolen by Maya. So they know that Krishna is the Lord, but what they say is they have read the Bhagavatam, but what they read about is only the 10th canto and the places where they say, okay, Krishna was a thief, Krishna was a stealer of gopis' clothes, and all those things they know, but they don't talk about Krishna as if the Govardhan hill, or Krishna has done this, Krishna has done that. No, they only talk about all this, like, just putting an example here. So that is Maya Aparita Gnana. And the fourth type is Ashram Bhava Ashritaha, demonic atheists. So basically they're completely pure atheist. They don't believe in God, envious of God, basically. So those are the 4 types of 4 categories explained in the verse 15 method. That's what I shared in the beginning.
Thank you Prabhuji.
Any other reflections? Please share. Krishna Amanda Prabhu, say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Haribol.
Thank you so much for nice class. Wonderful presented. So many devotees are there, so I didn't want to open my mouth. So in general, yeah. So there is a nice pastime where we see that Tirumalai Alvar, Lord Shiva, Lord Vishnu, Lord Sudarshan Chakra's incarnation. So was so much there in contemplation of the Lord Narayan always in Tamil Nadu. So then one day Lord Shiva, Parvati going on the aerial tour. Then Parvati they said, "Who is this person who is sitting on the near the bank of a river with the rags? Doesn't even have proper clothing. He doesn't have anything. It seems. I want to give something. Who is this person?" Lord Shiva said, "He's a great personality, great saint, extraordinary devotee. Is always contemplating. He doesn't need anything. So it is better. It's not appropriate for us to go near him. So we should go our way." And Parvati says, "No, no, no, no. I want to give him something. He seems to be doesn't have things. So I want to give something. So let's go." So by her desire, then Lord Shiva said, "Okay, all right." So they both went, and then Lord Shiva tried to give something. He didn't even recognize the Lord Shiva. He didn't. He was completely in contemplation of the Lord. He was not even seeing who is there next, or not bothered by anything. So then Lord Shiva tried in few different ways, but he didn't say anything. Then Lord Shiva said, "We are here. We want to give some blessings. Please take this." Said, "I don't want anything. I don't need anything." So then Lord Shiva still insisted. He said, then he asked, "Can you give liberation?" Said, "So I cannot give liberation. Only Lord Vishnu can give liberation." And he said, "Can you give then from save me from? Can you extend my death for a few minutes?" I said, "No, no. And that also I cannot interfere with Prakriti. It is based on karma. Things increase, means things happen. You get the reaction accordingly. Your time limit is extended or decreased. So I cannot interfere with that. In that way, so he didn't take anything. Then Lord Shiva became so furious. Then he opened his third eye. Then he created a big fire, and then it went to Tirumala Alvar. Then this is because Lord Sudarshan's associate is not different. So then immediately Sudarshan Chakra, fire came from Sudarshan Chakra. Then it was creating so much heat for Lord Shiva himself. Then whole horizon, whole universe was feeling that intensity. Then Lord Shiva could understand what's happening. Then he, withdrew his thing, and then he left from that place, giving his blessing, understanding his position of the great devotee, great saint, this Tirumala Alvar. So this pastime is teaching how showing different things, means the position of the demigods and position of the Supreme Lord, what Supreme Lord can give, what the demigods cannot give, and these verses as Harikishore Prabhu nicely presented, Acharya is explaining. Sakama Bhaktas are something which Krishna is talking about previously. Now he's talking about the four kind, those devotees who are worshipping demigod, what will happen to them. So that's what these four verses which Harikishore Prabhu is this pastime is explaining how to be observed in dedication to Lord Vishnu, Lord Krishna's service, and his devotee service. And not in any way this pastime is a negligent of Lord Shiva's position. It is just to showcase these pastimes. We shouldn't take it in another way. How can he not recognize such a great personality as Lord Shiva? That's not the point. We shouldn't take it in a negative context here, because he is such a great devotee, extraordinary devotee. So we should take it in a other way. So just to showcase us how to understanding the supreme position of the Supreme Lord. Yeah. So this verse Prabhupada quotes in so many different places. So much explanation Prabhupada is giving in Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Also Prabhupada quotes this verse and the 20th and 23rd verse, two verses.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Very nice pastime. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribol, Prabhuji. Dhanatan
Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful lecture. Very interesting topic as always. This raises a lot of curiosity. Prabhuji, you mentioned that, of course, we should not disrespect demigods, and we should not take it like ordinary beings, and then we should have proper respect. I'm just trying to think like, do demigods have the the power to give these spiritual benedictions. I know material benedictions I've heard a lot, but talking about the spiritual benedictions. So if a devotee is aspiring for Lord Vishnu, and then I mean anyone would say then if you're aspiring for Lord Vishnu, might as well just worship the devotees of Lord Vishnu. But demigods, I mean, there been examples, and again I may be missing, but in past where the demigods have given boons or benedictions to the devotees, where that's helped them to grow in their bhakti.
Certainly, Prabhuji. Yes, demigods can make the life conducive because they control the material nature, material world, right? So according to their levels, they'll certainly support you when you ask for, when you ask them, or when you pray them, or when you're respectful enough to them. They'll make your life conducive to approach the Lord Krishna himself. Example, Narada Muni. Narada Muni is a demigod. He always, whenever there is a requirement, whenever as a neophyte devotee is going towards the path of bhakti, like take number of examples, right? So many examples. He changes them, he converts them, he makes sure that their desire, like for example, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj didn't have any clue. He was going for, he was a artharthi, he was a looking for a wealth. He wanted to have wealth much better than his great grandfather. So that personality, that thought, just by Narada Muni, he has changed his thought and he gave that boon to him. Okay, and I was thinking about some other examples. For example, I was talking to today. If you see ICNJ Japatan channel, our dear Hema Jagannath Prabhu has shared a video of devotees lighting the lamps on the top of Neelachala, like now on the top of the temple, Jagannath Puri temple, okay, that Shikhar, right? They climb up there. So I was in Jagannath Puri in 2018, and I saw this activity when they change the flags every day, right? So that is a special event, and a devotee who climbed up there, he changed the flags and he brought the flags back, and I was so impressed. I spoke to him. I approached him and spoke to him. He's like in 20s, like, you know, he's not very old or something, 18 or 20 years old boy. And I spoke to him and I told him, like, you know, what is the courage? How do you think? I was expecting that, you know, when I asked the question, I was expecting he'll say, oh, Jagannath is merciful, Jagannath is going to give me the power and the protection and all the stuff. I asked him, like, you know, what makes you, or how do you get this confidence or courage to climb so high on the top of the Jagannath Puri temple? I was expecting him to say that, you know, Jagannath is merciful, Baldev is merciful, or now Subhadrama is merciful. You know what he said? He said, we have Bimala Devi in this courtyard. The Jagannath Puri temple is a complex. Okay, in that courtyard they have a Bimala Devi. Okay, Bimala Devi is Parvati herself. Okay, wife of Lord Shiva. So he says that before I climb or before I take this courageous step, I pay obeisances to Bimala Devi, and I bow down to her and ask her blessings. So with the blessings of Bimala Devi, I can able to climb up there. So that's what he said. So that means the demigods, even though they were demigods, when you ask for a boon or when you ask for a desire towards satisfying your bhakti or satisfying the Lord Vishnu, they'll help you, or they'll put you, or they'll push you into the service, and they'll make sure that the service is successful. Does it make sense, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, very much. Thank you. Wonderful example. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Jai. Thank you so much, Harikishore Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Anybody else has anything to add? Any reflections, questions, comments?
Prabhuji, I have one small question here.
Okay.
You know, Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna tells to Arjuna to pray to Lord Shiva, to Lord Indra, right? To get all those benedictions, right? Now, Lord
Krishna is encouraging Lord Arjuna to do this, to get those benedictions. So that's what I'm confused. Why Lord Krishna is asking Arjuna to pray to demigods and get those boons?
So, what are the boons you're talking about, Prabhuji? So,
So
are you talking about? Are you pointing? Let me. Are you pointing? Krishna asking Arjuna to go to Swargaloka and get all the. There is an episode where Arjuna goes to Swarga and he gets a lot of boons from Indra and everyone, right? Is that the point? Is
right,
that the
correct. And he prays to Lord Shiva also, right? Then again he,
Pashupatash and everything?
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I was not following Prabhuji here. Then
He
Lord Krishna being Supreme Lord, and why is he asking?
and he encourages him to burn the that forest so that he can pacify the Agni, and he gets that Ghandiva from Agni Dev. So yes, that's true. So basically, when it comes to the material benefits, okay, so Lord Krishna encourages and pushes him, and he doesn't disrespect um, the roles of the demigods in this material world, right? So when you are in the material world, when the duty of Arjuna is pacifying Krishna, if you see the goal at the end of the last or the final goal of Arjuna is to pacify Krishna, to follow the words of Krishna. Krishna wanted that war to be happening. So Krishna was preparing Arjuna, and he was encouraging him to. Krishna would have given everything. Now he has already said this war has already been fought. What are you talking about? Now he showed his Vishwarupa form. He was showing everything is done. It was all set. Just because it has been said, just to be a part of this material nature, he has asked him to go and get the boons or the different items from different people. So everything was controlled and everything was done. He encouraged this devotee or Arjuna to get the boons from other, or those weapons from other demigods, just to respect or keep the niyama, or keep that what do you call it, the courtesy, the courtesy of this material world. Everyone has their role, so he just encouraged to follow the role. That's it. But if you are a devotee, we don't have any other, we don't have any other desire except reaching to Krishna, right? So at that point, reaching or approaching demigods for any kind of other things are not fruitful enough. That's what is the difference. Do you understand the difference, Prabhuji?
Yeah, Prabhuji. So basically, in that instance, Lord Krishna is giving credit to other demigods. I can give that, but I had been given sort of portfolio to them to give those, and
Yes.
you have to approach them only for these things, and you should not come to me. So
So-
that they had been, like, they have given their profiles, right? Home minister will do home minister job, so they have been given that benediction of that particular thing. So you have to approach them, and
Right.
maybe he gives the guidance there, because
Right.
he must not be, he's a spiritual master, right? So he must be giving guidance to Lord Arjuna that, okay, please go and pray to them, and then you get those.
He doesn't want to break the rules of this material world, right? Whenever, like for example, Ram came in, and Lord Rama was Purna Purushottam. Like, he doesn't want to Maryada Purushottam. He doesn't want to break the rules which was set for this material world. So showing that they're also in the power, and they're also demigods. Demigods were assigned some roles, and they're also in their power. So that's what Krishna is doing here, Prabhu.
God, thank you. Very good.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah, nothing else? Anybody else? Okay, if there is nothing else, let's conclude today's session. Thank you so much, Harikishore Prabhuji, and everybody else. Thank you for joining. Let's pay our obeisance to all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vancha kalpatarubhashya Patidanam pavanebhyo Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. Gauri
Thank you.
Premanand.
Very well.
Is WhatsApp working again? Just asking.
Yes, it is working.
Is
Never
working?
know. So yes,
No,
it is
actually,
working for now.
for me it says it's still down. I don't know.
No, that problem is you try with Wi-Fi and data plan, and also look at the chat backup. So these are things. Otherwise, generally it is working. Maybe for a few minutes it may not be, but yeah.
We'll try again. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Hare
Hari
Krishna.
Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.